Hello guys, it's almost afternoon where you are. Hope everyone is doing well today on this fine Tuesday morning, late morning, and it's good to see you guys here again. Hi Matt, how you doing mate? Penguin, how is it going again? Alistair, Neil, Sean, John, Krista, welcome back guys on a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. Well, I did explain in the tweet there was no point immediately on the Friday because the game week hadn't finished and the deadline wasn't quite done yet. So I thought, and I'm not working, I've got a couple of weeks off now, Chinese New Year. So I thought, might as well wait for an actual deadline day so we can really sum up the blank and double game week and then make our final decisions as we go into game week 20. So I did say, and you guys were my witnesses, I did say that those who were saying about using any kind of chips or anything for the blank game week and the double game week, not to look at it as a terrible blank game week where you got like 50 points, but to look at it as a double up of the blank game week and the double game week combined. That's what the chips were. It's a double whammy, right, so to speak. Hey Harry, how you doing buddy? First 100 play, and there it is. I said if I wasn't gonna do it, if it wasn't gonna be this week, it was never going to happen. Well, there you have it. 109 points, -8, so it's 101. It took a triple captaincy fail to get me over the line here. But yes, I finally got 100 points. It only took, I think I've said it, 25 fixtures in a double game week and a triple captaincy to get 101 points. Unbelievable. Told me it was a bad idea. I don't regret it still, Harry. Because there you go. He goes to Old Trafford and he gets 2 goals. A week after playing Manchester United, he goes to Old Trafford to get 2 goals. Now, if he goes on a goal-scoring run, it's going to say, oh, well, this is fantastic. But there you go. I don't regret it. I know it's only 12 points in a double game week, but there are still people out there that'll do it in a single game week. There are still people out there that are going to get a worse triple captaincy score than 12 points, to be honest. Is it great? No, of course not, because he obviously didn't start as well. So if we're getting into double game week in the future with Mo Salah, is he even going to start in those future games? I don't know, but 4 times 3 is not the best. Oh, let me just catch up with the chat. This beats homeschooling. Thank God for the break. It's early lunch. Nice, Neil. Anyone else get any hundreds? I think you see a lot of them on Twitter, but I see a lot of people saying on Twitter as well, it's all well and good people post their scores when they're all high, right? That's all you see on Twitter. Look at my captaincy. I captained John Stones. And you've never probably seen that dude before. You see these crazies. I got 150. I got 140. But then that's all you see on Twitter. People posting their one game weeks where, you know, they've had an absolute blinder. Whereas, you know, it's only a few people like, oh, well, I only got like 60 points this week. I must be terrible. It's like, well, no, because, you know, like me, we post our scores every single week, good or bad, right? But it's just unfortunate that when the good weeks come along, they just get blended in by the one-timers going, oh, look, I got 150 points. But there we go. I've already made 1 transfer this game week, but we'll do that after we have a quick review. Alistair, so your team for this game week: Martinez, Justin, Chilwell, Diaz, Grealish, Salah, Souček, Son, Bamford, Antonio, and Kane for the captaincy. My thoughts, Alistair. I mean, it's a completely solid squad. Captaincy, Kane, fantastic, gets the points. It's against Liverpool, though. Like, that still puts me off. Bruno Fernandes at home to Sheffield United after a little bit of a rest. A Man City player, even a defender, even, I don't know, Diaz, Cancelo, Stones, captaincy at home to West Brom. I just feel as though a Harry Kane captaincy against Liverpool is not for me. You dropped KDB and Vardy to Salah and Antonio this week. You must have money in the bank. You're having a laugh, but glad you didn't play my great score. It's a good score. I mean, it took me up a couple 100k, so I can't argue with it too much. You got 96 without Stones. That's really good. Sean, 126 with a -4. Nice. That's excellent. 37 last week. So Harry, that comes back to the point that I was saying when people were saying like, oh, the people who did the free hit in the blank game week, they only got like 50 points. You know, I didn't use anything and I got 40 points, so I think it's worth 10 points. But then when it got to double game week and I'm playing 10 players with a double game week, it wasn't a 1 week chip really, it was more like a 2 week chip. So 87 and 37 is quite good, but you know, you play a chip in one of those 2 game weeks, probably would be more. Twitter, but when you get 100 points is the worst. Yep, it felt like so many people got over 100, but I mean, it can't be that many because we've got green arrows, right? And we're such a small percentage on Twitter, such a small percentage. Gundogan was a great differential. Yeah, I had him for the free hit. It didn't work out. 110 for a free hit. There you go. Alistair, what would you have got if you didn't free hit? Just out of interest. You climbed from 576 to 368 with no chips. That's very good with no chips, that Neil. Salah wasn't assist, but you did say the triple captaincy. Well, good for you, Neil. You've done KBD to Bruno. How do you feel Man City are going to do without KDB? Defensively, fine. And I'm okay. So my transfer has been Kevin De Bruyne to Gundogan. And I don't want to be that guy. And I did say this on Twitter. I don't want to be that guy. But I did post a tweet ages ago about Gundogan getting his run of form. And then since then, everyone is just like, Gundogan, oh no, oh, everyone's going to do it now. And I'm just like, oh, not everyone at all is going to do it. It's going to be a tiny percentage of people on Twitter. I want to see. I posted about him, when was it? January 4th, I posted about Gundogan when he'd got 3 hauls in 4 games. And I even made a joke with FPL Clarkey when he was like, for free hit people, bringing Gundogan just casuals. And I said I was offended, but it was also true. So I still think for his price is what, 5.5 million, the money in the bank. I could be taking a -4, but I'll talk to you guys about that when we get onto this week's stuff. 110 for John. Didn't enjoy it is long, and this is a problem. This is a genuine problem and a loss of enjoyment. I can watch all the games. So if I go forward here, you can see, all right, ignore that it doesn't say it yet, but this game we can see I can watch all of them. And I love football, don't get me wrong, but because of, for me as well, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I've got to watch it the next day. It's just, it's too long. Like, I miss those sort of soccer Saturday days, you know, when you used to watch, there's a goal, someone's screaming on the side, but it is what it is. Then the TV companies take the money for it. It was a really long game. And now we're starting again on a Tuesday and Wednesday. It's nuts. I'm kind of glad that they didn't cancel the FA Cup, though, because, you know, some of the little giant killing stories like Chorley and Cheltenham getting through to this level, you know, teams like that. Quite happy for them. 109 last week for Neil. 105. Triple captaincy let me down as well, Penguin. Look at us all with our triple captaincies. And I still don't blame, you know, the mantra around here, blame the decision, not the result. I don't think a triple captaincy of Mo Salah to go double game week is a terrible thing. I really don't. You have a captaincy ban on Gabriel Jesus, Krista. Not for me. Played 9 double game weeks, so just on the wrong ones. I think, honestly, if I hadn't have had John Stones, my game week wouldn't have been good at all. Like, it kind of falls into the category of, did you have John Stones or not? And if you didn't, you did lucky to get a green arrow in the end. And that fall from 15 to 55, yeah, that's an acceptable loss, in my opinion. Yeah, Jones... You wish Cancelo had started first. Yeah, and I was 50-50 Cancelo Diaz. And I went for Cancelo. Cancelo captain, I would be tempted, Matt. I genuinely would. Like, but if you've not got Bruno Fernandes, I would be tempted. But the fact that Bruno Fernandes has got Sheffield United, do you swap KDB to Sterling, to Son? Personally, I would probably go towards the Son route. Sterling is not a better option now that Kevin De Bruyne isn't playing. Like, there's a reason we don't have Raheem Sterling in our fantasy football teams, because he's not been playing particularly well. I know Son is against Liverpool, and the thing with now, I went for Gundogan, and that's because I was a little bit scared of going triple Man City at the back, but I do think, now, hear me out, I'm not saying go Cancelo, Stones, and Diaz. I would actually maybe suggest for you guys Ederson. Go for Man City's goalkeeper. Now, the reason for this is Man City are going to have, like, what, 3 or 4 double game weeks because of how many they've missed? 3 double game weeks, I think, man. And they're all together. It's all in the 20s, right? Man City are going to have, like, 3 double game weeks. Cancelo, Stones, Diaz, eventually when they're all fit, they'll all get rotated out. But Ederson won't. He'll be your constant guy who plays. And to have a Man City player who should definitely be playing, I'm thinking about it, but Martinez and Villa, they have double game weeks to make up. So I'm kind of reluctant to go at the minute. But I've got enough money in the bank to get Kane in for Bamford or Watkins and then take Martinez and turn him into Ederson. But I'd have to get rid of Gundogan again. But that's my thing. If you're not looking to change around your midfield, or you want to take Kevin De Bruyne out, you want to change your formation, I think 4-4-2, the tagline that's going across, I think 4-4-2 is going to be a pretty solid formation going forward. That having Ederson in goal for all those double game weeks and those easy fixtures, 6 points, isn't it? Almost in the bag. Is the Liverpool and Chelsea fixtures really that bad for Spurs? No. They're not. And that's why I'm leaning towards Son. Still only at 1.7 million. Crawling back. I'm crawling as well. I think I'm like 1.3 million now. I was down at like 4.5 million. Game week 8, game week 9. You're between Bruno, Salah and Antonio for captaincy. Crystal Palace, they are in trouble. Honestly, with my vice captaincy, I like having more of a punt. Like, put your captaincy on, like, Bruno, right? But then put the vice on Antonio and just, have a play. Who do you reckon is going forward, Robertson or Man City defenders? Man City defenders. I've got 2 Man City defenders. I'm thinking of going Robertson down as well. Even maybe all the way down to Mitchell, so I'll just play Kufal and using that money to maybe go 3-4-3. Still, for differentials are great. And I know this is a little bit ironic considering I've just triple captained and out of form Mo Salah, but I think he's in a different ballpark. There's nothing that attracts me to Raheem Sterling apart from he plays for Man City. I mean, and Gundogan's a massive differential, right? I think Sterling gets more affected by who plays behind him, like Cancelo or Mendy or Zinchenko, than he does if Kevin De Bruyne doesn't play. I mean, Gundogan might be dropping back next to Rodri. We don't know. I'm just going off. He's got good form and he looks like he's got a license to get into the box. And I'm going to take that money and I'm going to get like Harry Kane in or something. But getting Ederson in or getting at least 2 Man City defenders, I think it's got to be the way to go. The top of the charts for defensive stats. Son is definitely captaincy option. And that's it. And this is another reason why I'm thinking of getting rid of Robertson, because he's been great. He has been fantastic individually. Robertson is having stat-wise and, watching him, he's having a really good season. He's a very good player. But again, I can't go banking on a corner going in or getting an assist. Like, for a defender, you got to be looking at clean sheet, and I just don't see clean sheets coming for Liverpool. I know they've got Brighton next week, right, after the Spurs game, but I just don't feel it. I really, really don't. And it would be gutting to get rid of Robertson, but if I can attack the season with 2 Man City defenders and a 3rd defender that just rotates, and that'll allow me to have like another big hitter in midfielder or another good striker up front, I think I might just take the punt and enjoy it instead of just thinking, oh, I hope Liverpool keep a clean sheet. I'll just bank on Man City, I think. You'd be so scared to have 3 at the back. And for me, it's not the fear. It's that if 2 of them or something gets dropped, and you only got 5 defenders in your squad, right? So having 3 Man City defenders, if 2 of them get dropped and your final defender isn't a playing bench, you're going to have 2 defenders in a game week. You're tempted to transfer Salah for Bruno. I would, Alistair, but I wouldn't do it for a hit. Bruno is top of the prediction of points for all FPL players over the next 6 games. Hey, so Hanchu, I'm up to about 1.3 million now. Oh, I'll take that back, guys. I'm just outside the top million. Whew. Nosebleed territory, guys. I've not been in the top million all season. I just end up coming back from the death all the time. Hey, Chris, how you doing, mate? Good to see you again. If you had no KDB issue and you would have transferred Salah out. Yeah. And that's it, Neil, right? I mean, if he would have got his form back and got a brace against Manchester United last week, you know, I'd be sitting here looking like a genius, triple captain Mo. You know, you got to get in on the players before they score the points, right? And I was a week too early. Hey, good afternoon, Denver. You went 2C at the back, swap KD for Donald, same as me, 7.6 million in the bank. Should you take hits to bring in Kane for Adams or CJX to Madison? I hate having so much money. Denver, I'm in the exact same situation as you, mate. I'm thinking right now of going from Watkins to Kane. Even though Villa's got games in hand, I'm just thinking away to Burnley is not easy. And I don't like sitting there with money burning a hole in my back pocket. Who Southampton got this week? Taking a hit to get him out, Adams out. I don't know. And I also don't like the idea of taking a hit to bring in Harry Kane, who's against Liverpool. Like, do I take a punt on Watkins against Burnley, or do I think Kane's going to get +4 more points than what Watkins is going to get? So I think I'm just going to try and hold off. Laughing as I say, bloody right, not triple captain his turn for sure. And to be honest as well, for that money, Neil, can you sit there and honestly say that you would put the captain's armband on Raheem Sterling? Now, if you tell me now that you will bring in Raheem Sterling and captain him, I'll say, all right, go for it. But if you're just going to bring him in just because he's a Man City player, then I'd just go for someone else. Tielemans, Everton versus Watkins, Burnley versus Dallas. Choose one. I don't know. I just feel like I've got to go Dallas against Newcastle. I just don't see anything from Newcastle right now at all. That looks like they're getting out of that rut. The whole limit of Son, Salah, Bruno, KDB. So did I, Denver. And Souček. You gotta have him that. You go for Dallas too. Alistair Stones on Cancelo. I've got to say, I don't know, man, because Stones is cheaper and he doesn't look like he's going anywhere at the minute. Cancelo always looks like he's more dangerous and he's so versatile, but rotation's always an option. I've got to say Cancelo's the better one. I've got both, so I can't split them. And I refuse to, Alistair. Hey, Boone, how's it going, buddy? Welcome. Start Dallas or Kufal, thinking Kufal currently. Honestly, that is a tough one. I'm glad I'm not in that situation of Dallas versus Kufal. I would have to side with Kufal, not just for chances made, but West Ham. Now, before Leeds fans jump on me, West Ham are a better team right now on form or whatever, or in the league than Leeds. Leeds are actually in a little bit of a slump at the minute. They've lost a few games, not really scoring a lot. And the way that they play, it's like all or nothing, right? But Kufal, solid right back, perfectly nailed on. West Ham are in a good bit of form and they're doing really well in the league. For me, Dallas and Kufal are both good players, but I'd be backing the team in that situation, and West Ham would be the team that I'd back more than Leeds. You've got De Gea and Martinez, so you'll drop one of them and have enough money to go Bamford to Kane. And that's another thing, because I'm sat here thinking, should I go Bamford to Kane instead of Watkins to Kane? Because I'm looking at this again, Newcastle away, I feel like I'm crazy. I think I'm mad to suggest getting rid of Patrick Bamford, arguably the best cheap player to buy this season. 103 points. He's already over 100 points, this man. Newcastle away. Oh, that's such a good fixture for him. But then Leicester, Everton, not so good. Palace, could be something there. Arsenal, Wolves, Villa, West Ham, Chelsea, difficult fixtures. And I already said the last few games that Leeds have had, lost 1-0 at home to Brighton, lost 3-0 away at Spurs. But then before that, they beat West Brom 5-0, they beat Burnley 1-0. The thing with Leeds is you cannot predict anything about Leeds United, right? You have no idea what's going to happen at all. You may take 3 hits. I'm honestly not against hits. Now, Boona in the chat, by the way, used to be Mr. Hits with injections, but I think he's losing it now. He's gone sensible. Had to block him on Twitter. I'm joking, Boona. You think the prime front 3 has to be Kane, Watkins, Bamford? That's 4, you cheat. See, Neil, this is why you're doing so well. You're playing 4 strikers. That's just not fair. Yeah, it's at the minute, I think it's Kane, Watkins, and Antonio. That's the quote-unquote template right now. It's a good template. Antonio's up to 6.5. I can easily see myself, because that was going to be my move as well. Brewster, Robertson goes down to like Mitchell, Kane in for Bamford, Antonio in for Brewster. I go 3-4-3, and I'm sat with like Souček first sub every week, which I don't think is too bad. You brought in Sterling and you've captained this week. Yes. See, now, if you're going to bring him in, then you might as well captain it. You can't have a player that's like 11.4 million, 11.5 million, and not trust him with the captaincy. And I cannot trust Raheem Sterling with the captaincy. I did last season, and he got me something ridiculous near the end of the season. He got me, I don't know, like 30-something points, right? He gets 30 points or he gets 3, you know, so I don't want that from my captain. KDB to Sterling for a massive punt. For a massive punt, definitely. Why not? But if you've not got the likes of Bruno or Son covering that, I'd be really worried. You probably wouldn't captain this week. You think it would Bruno at home to Sheffield United. But then, okay, but then if you want to captain him next week or the week after, if you trust him with the captaincy, Neil, which is what I'm saying, then why not? Should we prioritize players from teams that have games in hand? Thanks for that, Chris, because I'm just going to segue into teams to target. Now, I've got on my list here City, United, Villa, Liverpool, Everton, and Chelsea. Do have some points for some of them. And we'll get on to that. But yes, that is exactly one of the things that I'm talking about with the teams that I mentioned there. Targeting teams that have games in hand. Yes. Especially if you're a little bit thinking about how you're going to use any chips that you've got or any wild cards or anything that you've got in your back pocket. Yes. Random, that's good. Bruno, your captain this game week. I think that's going to be the most popular one, isn't it? This is why you're slightly worried about Bamford. Yep. And I don't know. I'd only be punished. He's literally 50% owned. He's literally owned by half the game. And it worries me that 1 goal is just going to kill me. You think Kufal to a Villa defender if time not blocked with Grealish, Watkins, Martinez. But why would you lose faith in Kufal? I mean, he's been rock solid. Dallas, Target, or Souček, one of them have to be benched. Dallas. KDB to Sterling, and Sterling is locked. Now that's better, Boona. That's the kind of thing we want to see. It said drop El Ghazi, doesn't seem to be start. Oh yeah, definitely. No one said El Ghazi though. VVD coming back. Not that I've heard yet, Krista. Not that I've heard yet. So we'll come on to the point that Chris mentioned, the one that I'd typed up. So teams to target. Man City have got, I already mentioned this earlier, they've got like 3 or 4 double game weeks coming up. They're in form, rock solid at the back, getting goals up front. Sad that they've lost Kevin De Bruyne. Good for our potential FPL ranks to give us a punt elsewhere, because you're not going to have Kevin De Bruyne starting your bench till he's back, right? It's a given. I don't have to talk about Man City. Manchester United are top of fixture tickers for difficulty. So for Manchester United, but personally, I'm unsure on what I would want from a Manchester United player and why I don't think they're necessarily a team to target. So having a look at the Premier League table, United do have games in hand. They are top of the table. Sorry, they don't have games in hand right now. They've played 19 matches. Now, the lowest amount of teams that have played games, Aston Villa, which we already know, but maybe some that you will have missed, Everton have actually played 17 matches as well. So I think 17 matches, so that's Villa and that's Everton. Now, for Villa, cheap options, I think we already know Grealish, Martinez, Target, Watkins. Before it was El Ghazi, but I'd lay off that probably now. I think he's lost his place. Maybe Bertrand Traore. I would be a little bit iffy about that one, but we know assets from Villa that we can sort of trust at the minute. Everton is an interesting one. Do you go back to Calvert-Lewin? Maybe look at their defence. So in terms of teams to target with games in hand, that's going to be Villa and Everton because they've literally played the fewest amount of games. But looking at Manchester United, so Bruno, I think, is solid. Whoever he plays, wherever he plays, he's your man, right? So Marcus Rashford apparently has got a little bit of a knock. So where am I going to go? Take a punt on Cavani? Why would I? When there's so many solid strikers like, your Kanes, your Antonios, your Watkins, why am I going to take a punt on Cavani if he might not play? Martial, he's fighting with Cavani for that starting place. Do I take a risk on a midfielder in the likes of Greenwood? Again, he might not play. Do I go for a United defence? Well, they're playing against Sheffield United. That's a good one to have a defender. They're playing against Arsenal. That's a pretty good one to have a defender. Southampton usually score goals. Everton, West Brom, Newcastle. So if I'm actually going to go for a second Manchester United player, it wouldn't be in their attack. It would be in their defence. Maybe Wan-Bissaka, maybe Maguire. Or if I can trust who's going to start between Lindelof and Bailly. But just for safety, I'd probably go Maguire or Wan-Bissaka. So I wouldn't go forwards for Manchester United. I'd actually go defenders. Which again, isn't that ideal. Bench boost in game week 26. We'll have doubles. City, Villa. We'll have 3 doubles very soon. It all checks out with Ben Crellin. Well, he's the man in the know. I just know that they'll have that many double game weeks because of the fixtures and the schedule and how many games they've got in hand. So my plan is also to wildcard just before the doubles and then use it efficiently and then navigate the blank with freeze. That's currently what it is, but it all depends. Because now Liverpool have been knocked out of the FA Cup. Getting 3 Liverpool in. Do I think Tuchel will help Chelsea assets? You've always got the new manager bounce, but I don't know him well enough. And he doesn't know the Premier League well enough, so I'm not going to be touching Chelsea just yet. But they're actually on my teams to target, and this is because Chilwell and James are the top defenders, and I think Thiago Silva is the 4th or 5th, the 5th defender for point projections over the next 6 games. So again, defensively, Chelsea are supposedly up there, but not a direction that I think I'll be going in. When Laporte comes back, what do you think the risk is, Diaz or Stones? I can have one and money is not an issue. I think Stones is a bigger risk than Diaz, but I actually think both of them are nailed right now. He's actually, Pep Guardiola's backed up John Stones a lot over the last few years. And he's been bigging him up now. And I think it just would be madness to take out a player who... a partnership right now between Diaz and Stones. I think you'd be mad to if it's not. And we know Pep likes to tinker, but with a solid defense, if it's not broken, why there's nothing to fix, right? Keane potentially from Everton. You mean defender? Maybe picking up a Everton defender. I don't know. Everton's a weird one. They've been so up and down. They're on the list because they've played the fewest matches. In terms of bringing in an Everton asset, I wouldn't actually be that comfortable about it. It's a good choice to bench a prime defender Robbo against Spurs. Yep. So this is actually a thing that I've got, an issue that I've got. And it's, do I want to start Andrew Robertson against Spurs? Yeah, I think he got an assist against them last time. And I just can't have 7 million defenders sat on my bench. Take a hit to replace Robertson with a Man City defender. I actually would not be against that at all. I think that's a decent move. It's strange that managers trust KDB but not Sterling. There's not that many points between him. KDB is coulda, woulda, shoulda every game week. I can't argue against that, Mr. A. I think Kevin De Bruyne and Man City in attack for a long time were very much underwhelming, but like Kevin De Bruyne still looks good. He still is really close. Sterling doesn't even look like he's going to be close. Cavani will start if Rashford won't make it. Would have brought Rashi in. True, Denver. And the problem with that is as well, bringing in someone like Cavani is short term. And I'm not a big fan of making short term transfers now. Sean's got Maguire. Yeah, it seems solid. I mean, we're talking about Man City's easy run of fixtures, but defensively, I think having a Manchester United defender, I might even go Robertson to United defender, and then I'll just have Stones and Cancelo as my back two, and then Kufar or Maguire, fixture dependent, or just have Kufar sat on my bench. I'll have Kufar and Souček sat on my bench, which means I can take one of them out and play it that way. So I think that's going to be... Or I might even go, like I said earlier, I might go 4-4-2 and keep Brewster and just go 4-4-2. Because it feels like we're getting fewer goals recently. It feels like we're getting more clean sheets now, which at the start of the season was just the complete opposite. Luke Shaw's the best defensive option for United. Tellers is just good cover. I just don't know. So actually, I'm not comfortable enough to think Luke Shaw's nailed. Do you think after the brace version United, the old Salah could return versus Spurs? Liverpool fan and Salah owner. Oh, Penguin. No. I mean, don't get me wrong. He could be back. He could have an absolute blinder, but there's no one to sell him to. So many people wanting to sell Mo Salah this week, right? But the fact that Kevin De Bruyne's injured, you don't really fancy Sterling. Who are you going to? Who are you going to go to? James Maddison? Like, you've got other people to take out. Now, if you don't have Kevin De Bruyne and you're thinking of taking Salah out, I just wouldn't. Martinez versus Burnley or De Gea this week? I've got, Sean, that is such an odd partnership of put that into, is it Live FPL or whatever? What's the website where you can see the ownership of how many people have certain players? I'm wondering if anyone else in the world has Martinez and David De Gea in the same squad. You're also starting Maguire as well. Sean, that's the age-old question. It's up there with form and fixtures, right? Do you double down? Like, if you double down and you play Maguire, then play David De Gea, and then you make the punt that United keep a clean sheet. They keep a clean sheet, you double your money. You go for Martinez and you maybe 50-50, one of them gets a clean sheet or defensive points, right? So United concede, but Villa don't. Or Villa concede, but United don't. You're sort of edging your bets that way. I'd double down. At home to Sheffield United. Who would you rather have, Maddison or Barnes? I'm leaning more Maddison. Just Barnes is, again, I don't know, like a mini Sterling. Just he explodes. He's gonna get 15 points, or he's gonna get 2, or he's gonna get benched. Maddison is in real good form at the minute. He's solid. I think he's still on set pieces for me. Yeah, De Gea is safer for you, Penguin, as well. Martinez is a wonderful player. I got him in so early. He's maybe even my signing of the season. He's honestly just been so good. But in a game week when you've got Sheffield United at home, you're playing Kufal over Robertson in your fan team. Yeah, I might do that. My fan team's been dropping. I think I'm like 300 or 3,000 now. There's a time I was 18th in the world on fan team. I had like 25 grand. Couldn't believe it. Obviously that went balls up. Hey Gary, how you doing, buddy? Loving the streams. Considering benching Robbo this week for Kufal or Souček's thoughts. Oh, Gavin, I'm in the same situation, mate, if I'm honest. And I said it earlier, I can't bench a £7 million defender. I just can't. No Tompkins for Palace. No Kyle Walker-Peters and Bertrand for the Saints. 2 good news for Laka and Antoniolias. Antony Golas. Doesn't quite work, but I get what you mean, Penguin. Well, first, all right. Antonio owners, I'll accept. Who owns Lacazette? What's his ownership? What is Lacazette's ownership? Come on. Let's just check this one out. 3 people. 6.2%. 6.2% of people own Lacazette. You're going to tell me that Antonio's is lower than that, aren't you? No, 13% for Antonio. 6% of people. That's crazy. I mean, it does look good. I literally was 0. I wouldn't have had Watkins for the double game week. And I've had Antonio. I was 0.1 short. Which may be very sad. De Gea and Shaw probably won't play this week. Henderson and Telles will most probably get games. See, I love it. The mind games. The mind games for Sudhanshu there. I agree. Maybe he won't play. Alistair, I almost had a heart attack when you said, is Mahrez a good option? No. Would you consider score predictions for fun or a dream FPL team for the coming week? Score predictions. You know what? I'm going to shoot through some score predictions. Palace West Ham. 2-0 West Ham. Newcastle Leeds. It's going to be you know, this is the most difficult one because I said earlier. It's going to be like 5-5 or 5-0 or 1-1. 1-1. Southampton Arsenal. 2-1 Arsenal. West Brom City 4-1. And West Brom's going to score in like the 94th minute just to tick everyone off. That's 4-1 Man City, not West Brom, by the way. Burnley Villa 1-0 Burnley. Because that's just the kind of thing Burnley will do. Chelsea Wolves 3-1 Chelsea. Brighton Fulham 0-0. Everton Leicester 1-0 Everton. United Sheffield 3-0 Manchester United. Spurs Liverpool 1-0 Liverpool. Madness. 1-0. I'm going to have to find that and repeat that later on. You just have done 2 players. You wildcard in 18, so you got 2 decent keepers. I know, it just seems funny to have David De Gea and Martinez. Who to use, Nick Pope or Martinez? Oh my God, Edwin, they're against each other. Oh God. I don't know, Pope. That's so difficult because they're against each other and they're both really good. Defensively, they're at home. Go Pope. How do I think the Newcastle Leeds game will go? I've just said. I've got no idea, Penguin. It's going to be 5-0 Leeds. It's going to be 3-0 Newcastle. It's going to be 1-1. I'm going to stick it with 1-1. You reckon we get Everton to play as a 1-1 Villa player? Yeah, I'm thinking of going Charlie Taylor to target. That's probably going to be my move, I think. And I'm so good. I had Calvert-Lewin for the whole season until he got injured. I had him the whole time. Differentials right there. Lacquer and Antonio. True, but sometimes people are differentials for a reason. You've got Ings, Kane and DCL up front this week. That's not too bad. Ings, were you early on that, John? Have you just had him for a while? Or it's a hell of a early one. Man, you see us have better fixtures over the next 6. Yep. We actually talked about that a little bit earlier about Manchester United defenders. Yeah, I said Maguire or I said Wan-Bissaka. But we did talk about that. I said double up on Manchester United and go 1 defender. Could be too early to put them in now. Might need to do a game week after 26. Yeah, and that's it as well, Chris. You're right. We've got weeks. Love the predictions considering I own. Have I just gone against all my own players there, Denver, probably? Just in the back of my head. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get 23 points this game week, guys. You just wait. But yeah, you're right, Chris. Don't make too many hits. Don't go too many transfers into what you think will be a double game week because anything can happen. Spurs 0 Liverpool 1. Hope we win. I think they'll pull it out. I think they'll turn it around. Liverpool, I actually have some stats for Liverpool. They're top for final third possession, right? And you all know the problem is, it seems like it's a transition, but they're so slow. They've got the most percentage of any team in the Premier League in the opposition's final third, but they've also lost possession the most amount of times. They're second for goal attempts, third for shots inside the box, top for most shots blocked, just ahead of Man City, but that Man City stat is a little bit skewed because of that ridiculous Aston Villa game where Aston Villa just defended like absolute heroes, like their lives were on the line. And City and Liverpool have both played fewer matches than Manchester United. So when these stats look even more impressive, Liverpool's, they are there. They just cannot, I don't know, break them down. Or we've all seen as well, like 90 plus minutes, they've got a set piece and they take short free kicks and short corners. I don't know what's happening. I genuinely don't know what's happening. But you've gone from like Mane, Firmino and Salah being like the 3 deadliest front 3 partnership in like the entire world. Cannot buy a goal between them. There's some kind of break. I don't know if it's COVID after effects for Mane and Salah. I don't know if it's just a loss of form, but something is not right there, and I don't know what it is. Maguire is painful to only get somebody. Yeah, and he heads them wide, Sean, all the time. That's what happens when you've got a head shaped like a refrigerator. You're going 2-1 leads. Hope Bamford scores. I do too because I've got him in my team. Non-FPL question. You're wondering which country you're living in. According to Times on Accent, USA, but which state? No, I'm not in America. I'm in Taiwan. What's your favourite sport apart from football or soccer? Greetings from Austria. Mr. A. Favourite sport apart from football? I actually quite like a lot of sports. I don't really I like rugby. I like UFC and boxing. I watched that. I've followed Anthony Joshua since he was in the Olympics. Cricket, but only like main 2020 or ODIs, or even Test cricket for England, or Lancashire. Lancashire Lightning's a 2020 team, right? Other sports though, I don't know. No, I think that would be it. I keep my eye on some stuff like basketball, but just football's my only true love. Spurs 3, Liverpool 2. I just know Son's gonna blank and Kane's gonna get a hat trick. Who to triple captain? Foden, Bruno, or Rashford? I think Rashford. Who triple captain? Bruno? Why not? Thoughts on this for a new chip? Your best 11 players automatically feel and captain goes to the top. Okay, I like that idea, Chris. I like it. So Chris's idea there is a chip would be you've got 15 players, and after the game week has finished, when the last ball has been kicked and the last final whistle has been blown, the game calculates your best possible 11, and whoever is the top goal scorer of the week gets given the captain's armband, and that's a chip. And I quite like that idea. It's better than all that attack, guys. If you remember that golden gem. I have to start 2 of Robbo, Dallas, and Kufal. Oh, now, this is those situations where I think the advice is what I wouldn't do. So I would probably bench Robbo. I just probably would, but I don't have the guts to do that myself. He called it Autopilot. That's a cool name. Did you see the UFC the other night? McGregor got wiped out. I did. And honestly, I'm not against it. He's so mouthy. I'm fine with him losing, Sean. I really am. But if you go to UFC, I love Holloway, man. He is nuts. This clip, like, not just in the fight that I had the other week, but when he's like dodging, there's a clip of him when I can't remember who was fighting, but he basically stops the fight, and he grabs the guy's hands and he starts teaching him during the fight. It's absolutely nuts. I'd say he's my favorite UFC fighter just because he's just he's insane. A great chip. Send it to FPL Towers. For the next game, you can only have 2 of the 4. Lookman, Rodrigo, Suchek, and Justin. I'm not really a fan of those 4. I'd probably go Lookman and Rodrigo because they're more attacking. I mean, I love Suchek. I've been singing his praises all day long, all season long. With Antonio coming back in and it looking like he's a little bit more defensive, and I can't argue, Rodrigo's a striker and Lookman is against Brighton and he's pushing forward. It's tough. You'll go Cancelo captain. Nice, Ollie. Nice. Honestly, I know it sounds stupid now going back because I would never have done it. I triple captain Mo Salah. I should have at least put maybe my vice captaincy on a defender, because we know from history double game week defenders are solid. I mean, look at this team that I've got now in my defense. Robertson 8, Kufal 12, Cancelo 8, Stones 27. Like, so many people, the defensives have done really well this week. You've done Dan Hooker. And wasn't it Michael Bisping? Who's the guy who's from Manchester who retired, who finally got champ? Oh, there's a lot of ones from years ago though. You play Lookman and Suchek, but Justin is such a rank killer as well. You're looking to FPL Towers. Yeah, send him an email. FPLtowers@gmail.com. All right, so it was a good double game week and single game week. We all had fun. We all had a laugh. So I'm 4-4-2 at the minute, guys. I am 4-4-2. So Martinez in goal, Robbo, Cancelo, Stones, and Kufal, Salah, Son, Fernandes, and Gundogan. Vice captain on Gundogan at the minute. I'm actually going to change that to Cancelo because it's fun. And then up front, Watkins and Bamford. And I've got the money, guys, to go Watkins to Bamford. What am I talking about? I've got the money to go from Watkins or Bamford to Harry Kane. But like I said earlier, it just feels a little bit wrong taking in mind. So basically what I'm saying is if I go from Watkins or Bamford to Kane, Kane's got to get at least 4 more points more than Watkins and Bamford. So I'm basically saying, can Kane score 2 goals if Watkins and Bamford only score 1? And I'm not 100% sure. Bamford against a Newcastle defence, that's pretty appealing. He's 50% owned, so if I get rid of him now for -4 and he outscores Kane, that's really, really not going to help me. Watkins, I'm not even a fan of getting rid of a Villa player. Do I think he's a particularly great asset, though? No. He's got a crazy 19-pointer here. Then he's got 13 here. He's got 11 here. But goal was his first goal since his brace in game week 8. Burnley defence, solid. Southampton, great form. West Ham, looking good. Arsenal defensively are actually much improved. But a -4. Neil wouldn't do it. You don't have the balls to make sure. It's Rudy, and that's exactly what it is. And I'm playing Souček. I should just bench Robbo and play Souček against Crystal Palace, right? Surely. Crystal Palace have conceded the second most amount of goals this season, but I just don't see Kufal as that attacking anymore. Because I was tweeting the whole time like, you know, look at Kufal, look at Souček. He's basically a striker, but since Antonio's back, he's not. He's really not as much. Got Watkins and Trent on the bench. It's a hard choice. You played Dallas and Kufal instead this week because of the matchup. Yeah, because Spurs are going to sit back like they always do. And if it's a bigger team like it is with Liverpool, they'll sit all the way back and just try and hit them on the counter. So I think Robertson's going to have more joy down that left side, but also think of individual matchups. Robertson is going to play against Aurier or Doherty. Now, Doherty for Spurs has been pretty bad. Aurier is such a liability. So for me to have Robbo against 2 pretty weak right backs, I can't bench him. Thoughts on owning Ings for the rest of the season? I can't say for the rest of the season. Rest of the season is too long. It's too difficult. Ings is fantastic when he's not injured. He's a wonderful goal scorer. Southampton have been playing really good football. Good to get behind, but I can't say their whole season. You think it'll be Aurier? And he's such a liability. You could picture it right now. Robbo gets in behind him. Aurier trips him up. Penalty, Liverpool. Robbo assists, Salah goal. Because that's the kind of... Or Aurier, red card. These are the things that you can potentially see happening, right? You can see Aurier doing these things. I'm really tempted for a -4, but also the fact that Villa have looked really good. Now, some of the results haven't been fantastic, but West Brom 3-0 easy. Palace 3-0 easy. Chelsea away 1-1. That's a really good result. United away 2-1 they lost, but it was a really good shot. 2-0 against Man City. That first goal against Manchester City should have been offside. And they defended incredibly well. I think they had a really good game. And then Newcastle 2-0. They were playing in second gear for the whole leg. They could have won that 4-5-6-0 if they really, really fancied it. But Burnley equally defensively, they've just beaten Liverpool 1-0 at Anfield for the first time in years that anyone has done that. And look at how many goals burnt. So the thing with Watkins is he going to be the one that scores the goal against Burnley? Possibly. Clean sheet, nothing against Liverpool. Lost 1-0 against West Ham. Lost 1-0 against United. Won 1-0. Lost 1-0. They only ever concede like one goal, which is so frustrating. So it makes me think that I might as well just do Kane from -4. Diaz for Robbo for -4. Again, I can't say for a -4. Because for the reason I just said earlier, Aurier can do something stupid. That's only good for Salah. I hope so as well. Should you play all three of them and DS and Stones? Well, you can say I'm going 4-4-2. Hey, Lama, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Watkins has been missing a lot of chances. Surely in a good... Yeah, and I don't like those ifs and buts, Sean. Ifs and buts are like candy and nuts. Christmas would be every day. It's going to have me thinking till deadline. He also did, Watkins did all, he was offside, rightfully was disallowed, but he did actually score another chance, but he was offside. So Burnley just only concede a goal. Like they play a flat and fat 4-4-2 and they just chill at the back and just say, come on, break us down. And is Watkins against Kane for -4? I don't know. What do you feel has been Wolves' biggest problem this season? Yeah, losing Doherty, replacing with Semedo, who's not worth the money. Losing Raul Jimenez has been obviously huge, but they had problems before that happened. And Diogo Jota, he went to Liverpool, and Jota was, he made a difference at Liverpool, so maybe that hit them a lot harder than they thought. Also, they had a few injuries, like Bolly got dropped for a game, which was crazy. Hey, Infamous, how you doing, buddy? You've got Kufal in a minute. Good. Excellent. You wouldn't transfer Villa out. You lost Watkins to fund Kane. Antonio previously held through. Looks better than Bamford. But I'm not going to take Bamford out for -4 against Newcastle. That's nuts. That would be nuts. That's why I'm just thinking of holding off. But next week, don't want to take him out. West Ham, then Brighton. I'm looking at this and I'm not seeing any clean sheets. And taking Robbo and putting Robbo all the way down. Or let's just go Manchester United. Like Maguire. Good old Slabhead. Let's get Slabhead in there. And then I can just easily go up to Harry Kane. With money to spare. And just every week I either play 4-4-2 with Maguire, have Souček as first sub. And I got 3 up front. There you go. And then in the future go Watkins to Antonio or Bamford to Antonio. There's so many options. But Kevin De Bruyne's going to be back in like 5 game weeks. And then I'm going to be like, oh, I need to get De Bruyne in. But I don't think we're in game week 20. I'm unlikely, if I'm going to spread the money around now, it's unlikely that I'm going to bring Kevin De Bruyne in again before a wild card if I'm going to wild card in the double game week. It's just not worth it. I might as well spread the Kevin De Bruyne money around now and then bring him back in on a wild card. Yeah, I think Lama, I think he's injured, right? I don't know if he's 100% out. Infamous 100%. Is that about spreading the KDB money? Because if we're going to wild card in like what? Game week 25? We've got 5 game weeks. Kevin De Bruyne's going to need easing back into the side. I might as well just spread that money around, maybe keep even Robertson and bring in a Manchester United defender. Keep spreading that money and love around the team. I don't know. I'm just not sold by Watkins. And I know it's all well and good saying, well, Villa's got double game weeks, but I'll wildcard before that, so I don't need to have any decisions based on it. Who would I bench? Trent, Kufal, and Dallas. Probably Trent on form at the minute, if I had the guts. Curious to see how City do without KDB. They won the league title without Kevin De Bruyne a couple of years ago. You did transfer Wilson out, Antonio in. Fair move. I could see Wilson getting some goals this week though. Leeds so unpredictable. Are you thinking wildcard 26? I'll wildcard before the double and then probably bench boost in the double. Still own KDB. Well, you might want to get him out. Striker options are really bad this season. So many players you really don't want in your team long term. True. I mean, apart from Harry Kane, I would like to see just... Oh, Vardy's out as well, right? But imagine just having two up front, Vardy and Kane. Done. I always think strikers aren't as worth it as compared to midfielders. They get fewer points for goals. You think a wildcard 25, bench week 26, that's the same as me, Neil. You said your wildcard into double game week 26. Have you considered wildcard out? Yes, but the problem with wildcarding out of it, Chris, is I can easily be in a situation for a very strong bench boost double game week 26 if I start to build from this game week, basically, right? But I always find the problem with wildcarding out of those situations is I'm just going to wildcard in a bunch of players that I really, really don't want. So wildcard in with the best team I can make for a double game week, do a bench boost, and that'll be full of Man City players and, you know, all these great teams and players that we really want. If I wildcard out of that, I'm going to bring in Arsenal players and just no Man City, or maybe one or two Man City, and then in the future after that I'm gonna have to bring those boys back in after the blank game week, which means wildcarding out of it, I'm just before the blank I wildcard out of it, and then for the rest of the season, for the next 4 or 5 weeks, I'm having to bring all those boys back in. And I lose the money. I can't, you know, Stones has gone up in value. Cancelo's up in value. All those players have gone up. I can't bring them back in. Sell Watkins, says Penguin. I'm so tempted. Long term, it's Harry Kane. I think Target at the back, Martinez at the back, Grealish, great options. Watkins, I just don't know. Planning to get in Sterling or Gundogan. Yep, two popular choices. I went with Gundogan. Not just to navigate blank, but potential further double game weeks that announced before the blank. Yeah, again, I'm not 100% sold, and I don't think anyone should be 100% set in stone because you just don't know what's going to happen. What fixtures are going to move, and because there's going to be one game week where Everton have a double against Man City. There's going to be another week where Man City have a double against Southampton, but we don't know what order that's going to come in. We just know it's coming because they're the games that got missed. Ings 2 home games and switch for Antonio. Solid. Give Watkins a Burnley game. But if I give him the Burnley game, I can just do -4 next week. Get rid of Robbo or even Taylor down to Mitchell, and I can go 3-4-3. It's really difficult. Why not bring in Kane next week and in 26 get KD back without wildcard and just win? Yep, it's possible, Denver. We just also don't know the extent. Like, we've been told, let me push my chair back. We've been told that Kevin De Bruyne is out for like a month or something like that, but you don't know if he's going to get rushed back in before a Liverpool game. But then do I desperately want Kevin De Bruyne in for a Liverpool game? I don't know. City had the other magician back then. Man, they let him go 1 year too early, right? If they would have kept hold of him. You'll go Vardy, King, Ings as a front three scene. That is solid. But if you do a 4-4-2, you know, I always find that I think 4-4-2 is the most balanced team in terms of like, you don't have to compromise with a 4-4-2. You go Vardy. Oh, I read that. Stone saving on no chip double game week. He did for a lot of people. What's my rank? My rank now is just outside 1 million. I was like 4.5 million in game week 8. Been a hell of a season. Thoughts on Chelsea assets? Avoid until I see something, Nicholas. Hey, Maestro, how you doing, buddy? Who should you sell for Cancelo with a minus? Oh, for Cancelo. I thought you were getting rid of him. James, don't sell him. Robbo, Dallas, Cresswell, or Kufal. Honestly, I would potentially get rid of one of the West Ham defenders, and that's only because you're going to always be in a situation of, are you ever going to play both of the West Ham defenders together? And if you are, that means you're going to bench James or Robbo or Dallas or Cresswell. So that'd be my logic. Get rid of one of the West Ham defenders, and that's just because you're never going to double up on him. Unless this game week you do want to play both of them, but then you're probably playing 5 at the back. Diaz or Cancelo if already got Stones. Cancelo. Thinking to captain Foden. Need to take a risk. Okay, so the thing with that, Tim, is it's all well and good saying I'll take a punt. Foden, he bangs. You're in dreamland. But what's the chances of Foden potentially really outscoring the likes of Salah, outscoring the likes of Fernandez, Son, Kane, etc., right? It's all well and good having these crazy and beautiful differential captains, but I just find that 9 times out of 10, those risks don't. There's no previous to suggest that Foden's going to come out and even play, let alone get you a good captaincy smash. Should you play Souček versus Palace or Galsey versus Burnley? Souček all day long. I think Galsey's lost this place. Are people a little short-sighted on Gundogan? 2 goals last season. Okay, but for that, James, you're comparing things from last season and not recent form. Like Gundogan's form right now is, I think it's like 8 points per game, something like that. 10, 8, 3, 9, 11, 3, 10. Now, if I would have cropped that out and I told you those points, you'd be like, that's Mo Salah territory, right? 3 double-digit hauls. 5 goals in 7 games. Yeah, he might be hyped, but I think 5.5 million, is he? 5.5? 5.5 million, fine. He can blank for that price, he can potentially blank for 3 or 4 game weeks before you need to be worried, because he's 5.5 million. He's cheaper than any playing forward at 5.5 million. That is worth that price. You're playing Dallas, Diaz, Stones, Cresswell, Kufal for this. Oh, so you are playing 5 at the back. Your first and your last time. But I said it earlier, 5 at the back looks like it's the way to go. 4-4-2 is easy to adapt and it's going to be flexible. And yeah, and that's it. In those game weeks where, say, Souček is my first bench and I want to bring him in, I've got a good option there straight away. And Gundogan is an option. I said earlier, like, if you can go 2 defenders and Edison in goal, that would be pretty cool. And you've got to be triple up right now. Banked money isn't earning points. Yeah, but James, it's not going to be banked money because that money's going to turn Bamford or Watkins into Harry Kane. So then it's like Gundogan and Kane versus Watkins and an injured Kevin De Bruyne. If I go Raheem Sterling, then, it's Sterling and Watkins against Gundogan and Kane. Bernardo or Foden or Gundogan does not score Raheem. And Raheem is a punt. Like I said earlier, like, he's low owned for a reason. He's just not posting any stats. He's not passing any eye tests to make me think Raheem Sterling's the one to go to. You know what's going to happen? Mahrez is going to come in and get a 20-point haul because he does that sometimes. It's crazy. I'm going to set on this -4 for Watkins. It's probably going to be the move that I'm going to make in the future, or it's going to be Brewster in for Kane, and then Souček's going to spend the rest of his life on my bench. But if I as well go Robertson down to Mitchell, and I can really spread that money around, because I don't see... I'm looking at clean sheets. Spurs, don't see it. West Ham away, I think West Ham can score. Brighton at home, that could be a clean sheet. City at home, Leicester away, I just don't see, before our next wild card, a lot of clean sheets for Liverpool, that I might as well just spread that money around and have a great front line. So I think that's what I'm going to go towards. Can you sell KDB for Zaha? Is it the... Yes, and he's just at a price drop, Neil, so you'll get him for even cheaper. He's on discount. Take care, Penguin. I'm actually going to stop the stream there as well, guys. It's been over an hour today. That's pretty good. So the fixtures after this game week. So Friday will be the next stream. This Friday. So today's Tuesday. Hopefully I'll see you guys again on Friday for the game week 21 fixtures for the Saturday. And let's see. if a 4-4-2 is going to be a good response to this. So let's see how it is. Got to go now. Good. You'll be captaining Bruno. I will be captaining Bruno. Unless something happens and he's injured, he'll be my captain. Good luck to everyone. Should you take a hit for El Ghazi to go to 1? If you don't play Suject, I'll probably want to take a -4 for that. Roll on Friday. Let's see some green arrows. Yes, and let's get inside the top million for the first time this season. Maybe like and subscribe if you're new and all the things like that. Do whatever you want to do, guys. Let's get those green arrows. See you on Friday around the same time. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one.